So, you want to be a real estate investor, but where do you start? How do you know what information and sources to trust? That's where I come in. I'm Jonny Cattani, and this is the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. Hey guys, real quick, before we start, go to investwithcattani.com and download my free ebook, Is Commercial Real Estate Recession Proof? Now to today's show. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Friday Follow-Up here on the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jonny Cattani, and it is officially launch day. That's right. We are recording this on Monday, April 11th, and we have launched. We launched 7 episodes to start. Give you guys a nice bit to binge right from the start. And if you've made it this far, we're now 2 weeks in. But the reason I wanted to wait till today to do this episode is because I wanted to be able to kind of talk about the process and reflect on it and the kind of challenges and different things that went into it. The first thing I want to do is I want to thank my team. Really, I get to do the easy part, right? I just get to press play and record and talk to so many great people. Grateful for all of my guests. But really a huge shout out to my producer, April. She's really the magic behind it all. She's amazing, and I'm very grateful to have her. So shout out to her. Shout out to my assistant, Rose. She's been incredible since the moment I hired her. She's done all my scheduling, sourcing of all my guests, which has been amazing. There's been no shortage of guests, which was honestly my biggest fear going into this. And I talked to Whitney Sewell back at Best Ever. I think I've mentioned that. And he was like, the first thing you're going to do when you get home is hire a VA to do all your scheduling. And that's what I did. And she's been amazing. So super grateful for her. And then, of course, my amazing girlfriend, Sam. She has been amazing as well. Shout out to Sam and to Sunflower Agencies, her digital marketing agency. She's been the driving force behind some of my graphic design, the templates that we use for social media, as well as allowing me to piggyback off of her scheduling software to do all of the scheduling that Rose uses. So all of them combined make such an excellent team, and I'm very grateful. So that's really today's focus, is building a team. When I joined Raise Masters, I know last episode we talked about mentorship, joining a group like-minded individuals. Big thing in Raise Masters is really finding your thought leadership platform. They're biased towards a podcast. Hunter has a podcast. Adam has a podcast. A lot of Raise Masters members have podcasts. So they're definitely biased towards that. It's obviously an incredible platform to build credibility, get your name out there, all of the things, but certainly not required. So I'm very grateful that they put all of the tools in place to show you how to set up and find and build the right team, and find guests and talk to people about being on the podcast and the various nuances that go into it. But the biggest thing, that one of the biggest takeaways was the book that was included when you signed up for the mentorship was Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. The irony is that it's Dan Sullivan, but it actually wasn't written by Dan Sullivan, which is exactly the point of it. The entire idea is this philosophy behind basically figuring out where your superpower is, your one thing. And it doesn't have to be one specific thing, right? It can be kind of a few things that kind of encompass one skill. For me, it's talking to people, networking, hence the name of the podcast, the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast, because really that's my superpower, right? Is talking to people, talking to investors, and building that network. Also, one of the reasons I went into podcasting is because all you do is talk to people. So it's been amazing on that side. But really what I did was figure out what I was good at, and I hired the rest out, right? So, it's a daily podcast. So essentially we recorded 55. I believe we did 55 right on the nose, plus or minus a couple episodes before I even launched. So basically I had, 2 months of podcast episodes done before I even launched, for multiple reasons. One being that if anything happens, we have a nice stash of podcasts that we can release, and I don't feel rushed to get back, right? So if I'm sick, or, if something happens, or, various number of things, if I'm traveling, different things like that, as well as one of the kind of ancillary things to it, but also a huge bonus is the level at which I'm able to conduct interviews now. The first few interviews I scheduled all myself, and I had a bunch of time in between each interview. So I was doing a ton of research on every guest, and not that I don't research my guests before they come on. I certainly do. Always check their LinkedIn. They provide a bio. I'll usually go to their website. But really to this point now, because they have to fill out a little questionnaire before they can schedule, what that's allowed me to do in those 55 episodes is really increase my knowledge, of course. And that allows me to really write down 3 or 4 talking points that I want to get to per conversation, per guest. And from there, it's a very open forum. And that allows me to ask questions and not necessarily have an agenda for the podcast, which is really, really nice, because you never know what we're going to talk about, right? I have a lot of people who are very, very seasoned and experienced operators. And there's an aspect of that could get redundant in terms of the content, yet somehow we always end up talking about something different, right? Certainly some conversations are similar in terms of, figuring out what their strategy is. And you guys notice that in every podcast, in the very beginning, I always get a sort of Reader's Digest version of how they even got into commercial real estate. I do that for 2 reasons. One, I really want you as a listener to see, especially if you're new or starting out and getting into this industry, I really want you guys to see all the different backgrounds and backstories that led to this, right? Certainly a lot are similar. They started in some form or fashion in residential, whether that be an agent or investing in single family homes. Then they couldn't scale. It's a very common story, but there's all different stories. And that is, something I do on purpose, because I want you guys to see that, you don't need a master's degree in economics to get into this, right? I didn't even graduate college. We can talk about that at a later time. I could probably do an episode on that, but you don't need all this stuff. And I kind of gone off on a tangent here, but really the whole point is the fact that, my superpower is talking to people, and this gives me that forum to do that. And now, almost probably 60 episodes in, I've gotten even that much better. Another reason I did the daily was how expedited I will be at doing podcasts. It's a multifaceted thing, right? Certainly there's the content piece of it, right? There'll be 2 pieces of content from every episode. So I'll have a plethora of content, which is huge in terms of, getting my name out there, building credibility. It helps me in terms of learning. Every day I'm talking, leading up to launch, every day I was talking to, probably doing 5 to 7 episodes a day. So that was incredible. Now we'll batch it. It'll only be Tuesdays and Thursdays that I actually record. But even then, it's going to be 5 to 7 episodes a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So anywhere from probably 10 to 14 episodes a week. So it flattens my learning curve tremendously by doing this, because I get to learn at an incredible rate from experts in the field. I get to produce a ton of content, and I get to increase my ability to communicate with people, to network, right? So already I've been reaching out to guests based on our conversation, talking about different deals. I'm able to ask questions about the deals that I'm working on from some of the people who are doing the same things. For instance, we are working on a ground up self-storage deal here in Utah. I'll probably talk about it on a later episode, but I had someone just last week who went from, value add and is now focusing on development. And I had some questions about, structuring development deals, and I was able to reach out to him. So there's so many things that go into this. It allows me to be myself and talk to people. I love talking to people, especially about commercial real estate. 5 to 7 episodes is a lot per day, but it doesn't feel like a lot when you get to just have these awesome conversations that you enjoy doing. So it really doesn't feel like work. So this whole tangent is basically just driving home the point that my superpower is talking to people. So figure out what your superpower is and hire the rest. It's really that simple. There's a ton of opportunity out there to hire VAs, people overseas. Rose in the Philippines. Like I said, she's incredible. April is here in the US, which helps a lot because she's really the main resource that I need to be able to communicate with. We talk all the time, especially leading up to the launch, make sure we were on the same page, all these different things. But really it's important. And listen, as entrepreneurs, especially starting out, we want to wear multiple hats. And certainly I still am wearing multiple hats, right? Just because I've, hired an assistant to do a lot of kind of the, some of that admin stuff. There's still a ton of things I'm doing, which I will eventually hire for, right? But right now, certainly until I'm really have a very steady income, there will be you'll be wearing multiple hats. But it's important to recognize as you get going, some of these admin things like scheduling and, eventually, now she's doing my social media, and there's, different things eventually, if things continue well, I'll have her be doing more and maybe even all the way down to, looking at my credit card statements and going over things that are write-offs and, even so much as scheduling my travel and booking flights for me and all of those things. Right. So basically what I'm getting at is that it's very important to figure out what your superpower is and then, hire the rest out. And what that does is that creates more time. Right. So now, because I don't have to do all this admin work, the amount of time that I have allows me to do 5 to 7 podcasts a day, for instance. Right. And now that I'm batching them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that gives me, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, if I'm calling a spade, I am pretty much working every day. And even on the days I'm doing 5 to 7, I'm working at night because there's just so many things that need to get done. And certainly I could probably hire for some more things. And it's definitely something I'll need to address. But ultimately, it frees up more time. It allows you to essentially multiply time because you have someone doing the things that need to get done. And then you're also focusing on other things that better serve your time. Right. And that's what's most important, is focusing on the things that are better served by you doing them. Right. Like I can't really hire someone to meet with lawyers and set up our PPM and structure our deals. Right. That's got to be me, so there's a lot of things that, you need to do and are important for you to do for your business, and the rest need to be hired out. And if you want to learn, really see this point driven probably even better than I could articulate it, read Who Not How. Very great book, easy read. You finish it in a day. And it's, very, very powerful. So, so for any entrepreneurs who are listening, that's kind of what I would recommend. Not that I'm an expert, but I can literally say how much of a difference it's made, because I would have never been able to launch had I been doing my own production and scheduling this soon. I had the idea for the podcast maybe 2 months ago, And I, was doing my own scheduling, and I thought it would be, May before I could really launch. Talked to Whitney, said hire an assistant to do all your scheduling. And just like that, I was able to go to my producer and say, okay, we're launching April 11th. And I think that was 6 weeks ago that I said that. So maybe not even, maybe a month. Yeah, probably 6 weeks ago. So you can see right there, case in point, how the ROI on hiring out these things is 100%, right? It easily pays for itself 10 times over. Doing the daily is, just going to increase it even more. So very excited for things to come. Again, thank you so much to my team. You all are amazing. I love you all very much. And that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. We are now 2 weeks in as you are listening to this. So thank you again. And we will talk very soon. All right. Thanks so much for listening, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. Have a good one. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Even though this is technically a daily podcast, it's coming out the next day. We have a ton of content coming your way. So please like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Leave comments. Would love to know what you guys think. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.